Welcome to the video, everybody. What we're going to be focusing on today is how to get a model from the 3D warehouse, and then we're going to take it into Blender to animate it. And I'm also going to show you how to take that animated object in Blender and then bring it into Lumion for certain animations. I hope you enjoy the video. Right, so the object that we're going to be animating today is just a ceiling fan. In my opinion, it's probably one of the easiest things to learn how to animate doing this workflow, just because all it is just rotating, and it's just setting up the keyframes correctly, and it just kind of rotates itself. So what we're going to do is we're just going to go to the 3D warehouse, type in fan. This is the one that I was using, the Haiku fan. So I do recommend that you get this one, but it's not too important. Kind of explode this. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to join these together. Yeah, just a little bit of SketchUp work here. Like I'm just kind of combining groups. You don't need to do this, but I figured I might as well just do it in here. And this, we're going to combine all of these. Right. Make group. We're just going in here and explode them. Right, okay, so that looks good. And the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to grab these. I'm going to grab the base here. I'm going to hit K, and I'm just going to drag it onto the origin point. So I've already saved this as fan, so this one's basically good to go. And then I'm going to open up Blender once we kind of get that far. Now, I'm going to be using the Sketchup importer for this, and I'm going to show you a few things that I do just to kind of clean things up. And yeah, if you feel like you're getting lost at all during this tutorial, I do have something called screencast keys on. So if I click these buttons, as you can see, like what I'm doing will pop up on the screen. So I'm going to be saying it out loud, but just in case you get stuck, just to look yeah, just look there and you should be okay. Right, so I'm going to use the SketchUp importer, fan. All right, so as you can see, when we import that, it comes in like this, right on the origin point where we want it. And if I click this, as you can see, we only have two groups because I combined them all in SketchUp in the way I want it to be. So they are named a little bit weird. So what I like to do is come in here. I like to click on like the base here, hit F2. I call this one base. Click on the blades here, F2. We'll call this one blades. Pretty simple. So right now, if I was to hit R for rotate and then Z on the Z axis, this is what happens. So obviously that's not what we want. We want it to rotate on itself. So what I recommend you do is you just click on the blades because they're all together, go up to object, and then go to origin to geometry. Make sure you're in object mode as well. By default, it should be, but if you are having trouble, just, yeah, make sure that it's in object mode. Right, so now, as you can see, this little orange dot in the middle here, that's the origin point. So it's now in the middle of the fan. So if I start spinning it, as you can see, now everything is working. This part is not as necessary, but I like to just do it anyways. I'm going to click the base, object, set origin to 3D cursor. This little circle here, the red and white circle, that's the origin point. I just like to put it there. If you're doing Lumion, it's not that big of a deal because Lumion will put the origin point right in the middle of the Blender file. But if you were doing stuff in Blender, this would be a little more important. So it's just kind of worth mentioning there. Right, so the fan is all set up, but now we need to animate it. So what I like to do is come down to the bottom of the screen here. Just move it so it's at 1. And then I think having, 24 frames was what I was doing before. I don't think this part actually matters too much. Like if you are rendering it at like 30 frames, it won't matter because I believe it goes like 1 to 24, but then as soon as it goes to the 25th, it just resets back to 1 in Lumion. So I don't think that that's a big deal. Yeah, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this thing on here, the auto keying button. And so this makes it so that we can just kind of move the fan ourselves, and then whatever we do, Blender will animate it. So I'm going to zoom in on this just so you can see it a little bit better. So yeah, right. So we can see all the frames here, 1 to 24. I'm going to start this by just hitting RZ enter. So that does not change the rotation at all. But as you can see, let me just see. Okay, I might actually go to the, for some reason, the SketchUp importer was not showing the keyframes down here. Typically you get a little yellow indicator. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do animation instead. This shouldn't really matter. You can do it in this one or you can do it in the other one. I just wanted to be able to see these markers because it makes things a little bit easier. Right, so I'm just going to zoom in on this. And we have, oh, sorry, I hit N just to make sure this pops up. Yeah, this menu here is very important. So what I'm going to do is now that I have our frame 1 set to 0, I'm going to hop to 9. I'm going to say RZ, and then on my number pad, I'm going to type 120. Then I'm going to go to 17, and I'm going to hit RZ 120. And as you can see, when I'm doing that now, it's at 240 because we went 120, 120. And then I think this should go 17. Technically, it should go to 25, but what I like to do is go to 24. So we're going from 1 to 9, so that's 8 frame increase. And then we're going from 9 to 17, that's an 8 frame increase. But the last one for the rotation is a little bit different because I'm only going to go 24 this time. And instead of going to 360, I'm going to go to 345 because I want it so that every single frame that passes, it spins 15 degrees. So we will just kind of play around with this a little bit. There might be easier ways of doing this. Like I'm not an expert at this. This is just, I know like enough just to kind of get by to use it in Lumion and stuff like that. So yeah, we're going to go to frame 24 down here. And then I'm just going to go up here and I'm just going to type 345. And then while you're hovered over that, I just like to hit I because that will just keyframe all of them. I know it's weird. I find that for some reason it seems to work better. Maybe I was just messing something up, but I just like it so that they're all yellow. So that they're all kind of keyframed in like that. Right. So now what I do is I typically go back 1 and I'll just kind of go like this. Now, as you can see, we want it so that it's a constant change. So if we look up here, it goes from 345. If we go back 1 frame, we're at 341. So it only went down 4 degrees. But if we go 1 more, as you can see, it goes down way more than 4 degrees. So how do we fix this? What you want to do is you can shift click all of these. So I think if they're all yellow, then they're all selected. But if they're white, you can just click them, go like this. Or I think you can just hit A to select all while you're hovered over the bar here. And then with everything selected, you're going to right click it. You're going to go to interpolation mode. And then you're just going to make it linear. And what this does is, as you can see, now it's a constant amount. So it goes 345, 330, 315, 300, right? And then so this part's good. We're back at 240. And then if we go down, that one looks good because it's going down by 15. And then this one is also good now. I think I may have to adjust this a little bit though, because I think if I play this, oh no, okay, so everything looks correct there. Yeah, okay, perfect. Like I said, sometimes you just got to play around with it. I found this one worked pretty well. Now, I think that everything is good to go. Like if you hit play, you can kind of look around. Everything seems to be in order. What I like to do too is, I don't know if this is actually important to do, but since we have everything set up and our 3D cursor's right on the origin point, I'm just going to hit Shift A. I'm going to go to empty, plane axes. I'm going to hit blade. So I'm going to click on the blades. I'm going to shift click on the base, and then I'm going to shift click on this empty here. And then I'm going to go and right click right here. And I'm going to go to parent object. Now up here, I like to just come here and say fan. This might seem a little bit weird. Also remember to turn off that auto keying because that can be very annoying. This might seem weird, but what this effectively does is it lets us have our individual objects and they're keyframed. But if I wanted to move them all as a group, this empty allows me to do that. As you can see, like it kind of like acts. It's almost like an anchor for all of them. Like it holds everything together. Um, but yeah, I don't know how important that actually is for exporting animations, but I do it anyways. Um, yeah, I think that we're ready to test it in Lumion though. Now, I honestly don't know if it's better to use Collada or FBX because sometimes I can't get FBX to work and the Collada works. Sometimes the Collada doesn't work and the FBX doesn't work. I would honestly just try both of them and see what one works better. I haven't really been able to isolate exactly what the issues are. But for this first one, Collada, maybe we'll call this fan call. Just make sure that animation, the include animations are on. And I think all this stuff should be I think all this stuff should be good. So we'll just export this. Wait, where did I export? I think I just exported that to like some random folder. Documents, I guess. I'll just put it on my desktop. Oh, maybe it wasn't my desktop. Sorry. Just it's weird. Ignore that. Right. So let's see if this works. So I just came into Villa Cabrera here. I'm going to go to import new model. Did I not? Oh, it's sorry. Yeah, this is FBX. So we want to set it to Collada. Fan call. Make sure that import animations is on. That part's very important. And I'm going to drop that right here. And so this is what I was kind of talking about where I don't know why this is happening, but it's like, if you can kind of see that, it's like, it's just sort of stuttering. I don't know why. Like all the other times I did Collada animations, they seem to work. But what I'm going to try now is FBX. So we're going to do the same thing. I'm going to call this fan FBX. And then I'm just going to come down here. And I'm just going to make sure that the bake animation is on. All these should be checked, I believe. And if they are, you're good to go. So we will just hit the check there. So import new model, fan FBX, import animation, looks good. Right, so this, interesting. Why did this one do that? Let's see if all of our scales are applied. So that looks like it's okay. Maybe if I unlink this. So yeah, it wasn't doing that when I tried earlier. So I think weird. Okay, well let's see if let's get rid of that empty and see if this one works. So we'll try this again. BX fan 2. Yeah, everything looks like it should be good there. So we'll just get rid of this altogether. We'll just import another one. Right. So I was just troubleshooting that. And this is the kind of thing I was talking about with like the auto keyframes can be weird. I wanted to leave this part in because I feel like this might actually be important troubleshooting for someone. So what was happening is I pulled it up here. Everything looked fine, but watch what happens as soon as I move this. It's because I think it was because the auto keyframe was on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring it so it's like here. I think that looks down a little bit. I think it was like actually up here. I think that should be good enough. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this. I'm going to hit I so that it turns yellow up there. And then I'm just going to move this down to here. I'm going to click here. I'm going to copy and paste this in again. Hit I. Copy and paste. We don't want it to be orange. Hit I. And do this. Right, so let's hit play again. Let's find out if this worked a little bit better for us this time. We'll just save this quick. Just call this fan. And export. So FBX is working better. So we'll do this a third time. And then I will import FBX fan 3. Let's see if this works a little bit better. Right, so it's doing this really like choppy thing here. So, all right, so this is another troubleshooting thing. Like I said, this video is a little bit messier than I want it to be, but I actually think this is kind of important because we're going to learn more of this. So I think that Lumion can struggle. Like, so what I changed earlier is like I made it so this is all linear. So like Blender knows how to kind of like go in between these. But I think for Lumion to work properly, you may have to actually put every single one in. So even though it's weird, we're just going to come up here and we're going to move this one by one, the frame here. Then we hit, just hit I over here. And what that's doing is creating the keyframes. Like as you see, whenever I do that, we get a little diamond down here. And this is the kind of stuff that you're definitely going to run into. And also, that's not the one you want to click the rotation. Like I said, this is definitely not a very clean video, but I do actually think that you'll learn more from watching me struggle with this stuff and fixing it than just watching me kind of breeze through it quickly, because these Lumion animations are really weird. Like sometimes they don't work as well as they should. Like it seems very inconsistent. Like this, literally I went through this stuff. I feel like I did the exact same thing and the fan just spun normally with no problems. So I don't know if that's just like kind of the nature of it, but you do kind of have to learn a couple little things just to kind of make sure that everything works. And you may have to do a little bit of trial and error, but if you can get it working, then it gets saved in the Lumion library and you never have to do it again for that particular model. Unless it's scene specific. But yeah, so let's play this through. So that's looking like it's working a little bit, you know, it's working like normal, but we have all the keyframes in. So let's try this one more time. Export FBX fan number 4. Export, and now we just pray. Right. So why would that be happening? Let me try a couple of things here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to save this. I'm going to close it. I'm going to reopen it. Let's just try exporting it again and see if this makes any difference. Might not, but like I said, you might as well just go through and check off every box. Let's just call it something different. I'm just going to name this something else. I don't actually know if this is the case, but it did seem like sometimes when things were named very similar, they were having trouble. Again, this might just be coincidence because I was, you know, as I said, having some difficulty with that. Right. So let's try this again. This is kind of what this is exactly what I'm talking about with how I don't understand how that happens. But all I did was close the Blender file, reopen it, and then name it something else. Now, it does seem like there is like a bit of a weird stutter. I can't tell if that's entirely I can't really tell. I think it looks good. I think it's good enough. Like it's, as I said, it's definitely good enough just to have like in a render. So I'm gonna render that out. I as you could tell, like I left all of the troubleshooting in because I don't know what trouble you're gonna run into. These are all things that it's you just kind of have to do trial and error. And I am going to get into more complex animation, so all these little things that will help it work, or just kind of make it fail. You do have to sort of understand that and how you can correct them. So that's why I put so many little troubleshooting things in, because those are all things that I found have actually worked one time or the other to get it working inside of Lumion. So yeah, if this video was helpful or interesting to you, I'd really appreciate it if you could hit that like button. And if you aren't subscribed, it would really help me out with the YouTube algorithm if you would consider subscribing to the channel. I try and release about 3 or 4 videos a week. Sometimes it's more, sometimes it's less. But it'd be awesome if you wanted to come and check out some of the future videos. If you are subscribed, as always, I just want to thank you for supporting the channel. It's always fun making videos for everybody, and I'll see you in the next one. Have a good one.